Right, here we go. The origin of mass, gravity, and inertia. This is basically the unified field theory, as I'm going to discuss the origin of gravity, mass, and inertia, which basically is all the same thing. They come from the same mechanical process. And then after that, once we understand how gravity is formed, we're going to discuss anti-gravity. There is only one thing that physically exists. That thing is the ether or space, the space-time continuum, whatever you want to call it. That is the only thing. Everything is made and built from that object. The ether is a quasi-elastic solid. It is the fundamental field. All things that we observe are simply different manifestations of this real physical object, but he didn't have the mechanical link. We're going to get that today. I'm going to demonstrate it for you. I'm going to show you how it works, and it's going to make perfect sense, and it's going to confirm Einstein's principle of equivalence, that acceleration and gravity are the same thing. This is what's going on inside of the proton and the neutron. And this was discovered by a lady who had a near-death experience, and she calls this thing the pattern. And I went searching for it because I had a suspicion that if the Father, the Creator, wanted us to know about it, he would send a message back through an NDE person. So how I got this idea to do this, it's a long story in itself. It's in the book. This is the basic mechanism. This is where I got the idea from the slip wave. I got it from particles. It's a similar thing that the Wright brothers did, to develop the airplane. They watched nature, they watched birds. Leonardo da Vinci, the same thing. Noticed the wing structures and such, and they started building aircraft with wings and shapes. You look at nature to find the solution. I looked at nature to find the same solution. I said, hey, aliens are getting here and they're not using rockets. And when we see their spaceships, there's not jet flames coming out of them. There's nothing coming out. They're using a spatial bias field. And the only thing we really have to work with is magnetism. The accelerated motion of unbalanced fundamental charges causes gravity, mass, inertia. The pattern to be recognized. All electromagnetic particles have mass except photons. This is my happiest thought. Fundamental balanced charges, such as the photon, always move in a non-accelerated linear motion. I remember the day I realized this. This is the day I realized how mass was formed myself. They analyzed pictures of the Belgian Triangle taken with ordinary film back in the 80s. When they analyzed the film, the emulsion itself, the material that was in the emulsion was magnetized. It takes a hell of a strong magnetic field and they were at, I don't know how many yards away from that UFO, but it still affected the magnetic structure of the film, the emulsion. Electromagnets would be even better because you could just turn them on and off. You don't have to spin the whole thing. Make it a rotating magnetic field. The faster this rotates, the stronger the magnetic field, the more gravity shielding you're going to see at the weight here. And basically this thing is going to float up and this is going to go down like the scale is going right here. It's going to be, this will become lighter and this will remain the same. It will of course be heavier than it was balanced before, but with the rotating magnetic field underneath this object, it will shield from the gravity and it will become lighter. That's the kind of experiment we just need to, so that we can start figuring out how much magnetic field strength we need and how much rotation we need to get the effects that we want. We want to be able to propel the ship and we want to be able to make it weightless. This equation here is incredibly important. Maybe more important than E equals mc squared. C, the speed of light equals 1 over the square root of permittivity times permeability. When you use a strong magnetic field and you stretch space, you pull it apart, these two numbers drop. If you drop them to 0, which has been done, Harvard creates a material that lets light go infinitely fast.